Today's top 7 news stories and updates for Tuesday, February 27th, 2024, which include Michigan primary, Biden's Israel-Gaza dilemma, tenuous budget negotiations, aid to Ukraine and Israel, the effects of Alabama's IVF ruling, and NATO expansion. Let's get into it. First up, Michigan's 2024 presidential primary, Trump versus Haley and Biden's challenge. Today is the Michigan presidential primary. Donald Trump is expected to easily defeat Nikki Haley for the Republican nomination, while President Biden faces a daunting and powerful uncommitted vote from Arab Americans who are distressed over Biden's apparent support for Israel's invasion of Gaza. Such protest could be enough to tip Michigan toward Donald Trump's favor in November. Michigan is critical for President Biden to win in the general election, because if he doesn't, the Electoral College results could be tied and would end up in the House of Representatives, where a Republican is most likely to win. Second up, Palestinian Authority's leadership shuffle amid peace efforts. Biden's quest for peace. Although there is a deep-rooted perception on the street that President Biden has unwavering support for Israel's war in Gaza, behind closed doors, there is wide reporting that he is actively seeking a peaceful solution, including a two-state resolution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fiercely opposes President Biden's prescription and calls the Palestinian Authority corrupt and incapable of governing. In response, President Biden and his national security team have evidently been seeking a broad shakeup of corrupt and incompetent members of the Palestinian Authority so as to make it effective. Just this morning, Prime Minister Mohammed Shatayyeh of the Palestinian Authority, the body that administers part of the Israeli-occupied West Bank, tendered the resignation of his cabinet on Monday, according to the authority's official news agency. Number 3, U.S. budget negotiations. Balancing the U.S. economy with Ukrainian and Israeli support. The White House is in talks with congressional Republicans to avoid a shutdown and get aid to Ukraine and Israel. At least 2/3 of the House of Representatives believe that getting aid to Ukraine immediately is urgent. However, House Speaker Mike Johnson is apparently beholden to the Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, who seemingly has a soft spot for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. Number 4, IVF centers and the impact of fetal personhood legislation. After the wide chaos caused by Alabama's Supreme Court when they found embryos to be people and destruction of them to be murder, which caused IVF treatment centers to close throughout the state, Florida lawmakers postponed their fetal personhood bill. Prior to such fetal personhood bills, doctors who had inadvertently harmed an embryo were seen as just doing their job, and at worst negligent. Now, such fetal personhood bills can consign such errors as murder. Number 5, immigration spotlight, tragedy and policy in the balance. Immigration is hotly debated on the center stage and has again taken center stage as a Georgia nursing student was allegedly murdered by a Venezuelan immigrant. This tragic episode promises to further inflame and enrage those who oppose immigration. In response to that outrage, both President Biden and Donald Trump are scheduled to make trips to the southern border this week to shore up their anti-immigrant chops. Number 6, immigrant workforce, a boon for the U.S. economic surge. The immigrant contribution to the U.S. economy is robust despite widespread opposition to immigration, and with it, the deadlock over any progress on immigration reform. The Economic Policy Institute's analysis of federal data shows that the U.S. economy is booming in much part due to a robust foreign-born labor force. Newly arrived immigrants fill a widening gap of labor shortage for lower-paid jobs, which most Americans steer away from. However, immigrants continue to come to the United States because there is a robust job market and wages are often higher than they will receive from their home countries. The Congressional Budget Office reported this month that the U.S. labor force in 2023 had grown by 5.2 million people, mostly due to immigration, and that the economy is projected to grow by $7 trillion more over the next decade than it otherwise would have without immigrants. Number 7, Sweden's NATO membership approval, strengthening European security. Hungary's President Viktor Orban finally pulled back from his opposition to Sweden's bid to join the NATO alliance, and he has approved their application. Sweden's NATO membership is significant for European security as it solidifies Europe's control over the Baltic Sea. And that's all for today, and if you like this series, then please check out other episodes over here and like, share, and subscribe. And I'd like to see your comments below and suggestions for other topics to cover. And I will see you here tomorrow.